Week 15. Last week I implemented a simple web front end for my app. Of all things, I used Hugo for it. I didn't know that I could actually use it because Hugo is a static site generator. The idea being that you generate a simple static site with no dynamic content. And the app, of course, is dynamic by its very definition, right? The user would put in input and then you would have to spit out different outputs for the user. And that's the dynamic part of it. Traditionally, the way that you do it would be to host it on, use a dynamic website framework, for instance, WordPress, and host it on some dynamic backend, some server, right? And then the server can then receive the request and render output for your users. But I learned something that's quite interesting last week. There's the new thing called JAMStack. It's yet another tech stack for web apps. It uses web static site generators like Hugo, but you can generate dynamic content by making the client, in other words, the web browser, to request the backend directly. So instead of actually using a layer that's sitting on the server to interact with the database, you would just ask the client to interact with the database yourself. And this is actually quite nice because the footprint for hosting the website, it becomes incredibly small. You don't actually need a server to receive requests, process requests, and then send back the information that the user is looking for. So that was actually done. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I did a bit more work on the monetization side of the app. As much as I like to make it for free, the services that I depend on do charge me an arm and a leg. So, if I don't figure out a way to recoup these costs, the app wouldn't be on the marketplace for long for people to be able to enjoy it. And as I was looking into the subscription, the monetization part of the app, there are a lot of interesting business side of things that I didn't know before. For one, if you're publishing anything on the Google Play Store or the iOS App Store, you have to use their platform's built-in transaction system. The idea being that they can take a cut from the fees that you charge your users, and they provide a platform. It is what it is, right? Even if you don't like it, you have to abide by their rules. Otherwise, they can kick your app out of their platform and ban you for life. I have no problem with that. In fact, the store kits, software development kits that they provide for implementing the payment systems are actually quite robust, and using them probably would be much easier than trying to build a payment system yourself. That's number one. And number two, the other part of it that's quite interesting is that for this to work, especially for recurring payments to work, again, because the app that I'm building depend on services that charge me periodically, monthly, so I have to be able to pass the cost down to the customers. I'd have to charge them periodically. For this to work, I have to keep records of the transaction, the subscription status of every user, which means I have to. There's no other way of doing this but to increase the complexity of the database that I currently have. This means more tables, more relationships to manage, and more app logic to find the user subscription, to find the correct user entitlements, and so on and so forth. So the work that I'd have to put into making the payments work might actually be as much, if not more at the moment, than the core functionalities of the app I'm trying to provide. This is quite interesting, and when you're a software engineer employed by a large company and you're just making the app, a small part of the app work, you really never have to think about things like these. And it's interesting that I now have to work on the payment system, which is not something that I'm terribly interested in, but I have to make it work, otherwise the app won't work. This reminds me of a very interesting story. A thing that happened to me a long time ago, like when I was still in college or something. I think I was still in college. My car had some issues. It was leaking oil. I brought it to a repair shop, and the repair shop looked at this and was like, "Well, I've got good news and bad news." I was like, "Tell me the good news." oh, your car is fine, except the O-ring that seals a part of your transmission is worn out because it had been like 10 years, you know, plastic or rubber stuff. It just wears out over time. I was like, oh, great. So how much is the O-ring? The O-ring is $3. Oh, great. Then what's the bad news? The bad news is if you want us to fix it, the labor to get to the O-ring is $1,000. And that situation reminded me of the sort of the current situation I am in with this app design as well. Like the core functionalities are in place. It's like the O-ring. The O-ring is actually the part that does the work, right? What I have to do to make this app work is to be able to collect money from users of the app. And that part is the labor. And it is amazing to me that I might actually end up spending more time on the labor than the O-ring itself. No worries, go ahead. There's a gentleman sitting right across me that's very concerned about disrupting me. He's been quite kind. And I think next week, a big part of it would be for me to look into the subscription model, how to refine it, what to do with regards to the free trial mode, and how to make sure I don't lose all my money when offering free trials and stuff. Yeah, so that'll be it for next week.